If you've been following my channel for any bit of time, you probably know some of the rhetoric I talk about, particularly when it comes to helping women understand men, particularly when it comes to bonding with a guy. Now here's the thing, many women believe that men bond through the telephone. And why I say this is there seems to be a significant amount of people that find themselves in cyber relationships. In other words, they're spending time on their telephone connecting with people, believing that they're actually bonding. This typically happens within long distance dynamics. But I want to tell you something about men in particular. We men tend to bond with women through face-to-face activity. What I mean is we need to physically be with you. We need to physically see you. We need to physically connect with you. But when I'm talking about bonding, I'm not talking about sexual bonding. I'm actually talking about bonding from a heart-centered place, or at least a psychological place with a man. And one of the best ways to bond with men is through social activities, hobbies, mutual interests. Initially spending time with family and friends, and certainly traveling together. Now, why is traveling an important one? Well, it's interesting because today I am supporting an organization called Single Cruisers. And what this organization does, it matches up people who are single. In other words, they don't have actively a mate in their life. And while sometimes there's couples that join some of the excursions, I'm traveling today on a tour, or not a tour, but a cruise down to Mexico. And what's interesting about these organizations and why I'm promoting this today particularly is understanding that when you put yourself out in an environment to be seen by single eligible men, the reality is today, and I know we've been kind of overwhelmed with online dating. The thing is lately people aren't connecting on an organic level. And so by actually going out and doing some of these activities, like single cruising, and there are many other organizations and activities that do this. As you can see the backdrop behind me, the ocean right behind me, I want you to know that this is a great way to connect with people, particularly men, where you can actually bond on a more face-to-face level, beyond the face-to-face level, but you can bond through the building of friendship in a whole different way than it would happen if you're doing this through the internet. So why I'm encouraging this organization amongst many others is that for you to put yourself out to be seen by single eligible men. I want you to think about this. Ladies come to me all the time going, Jonathan, where are all the great guys? Where are all the great guys? And I want you to know the real question you should be asking yourself is, how can I be seen by single eligible men my own age? Now, particularly in the groups I'm talking about, it's mostly men in midlife. And I talk about midlife being, for women particularly, is after baby making years and before retirement. So by putting yourself out there to be seen, this is the way we can change the narrative so we don't feel so dependent upon the cryptic way online dating works, and particularly the fact that we're connecting with each other through our thumbs and not necessarily with our heart. Because ultimately, if you truly do want a juicy, delicious relationship that actually goes somewhere, I want you to know that the real roots of trust, the real bond, when I say the roots of trust, happens through social activities, hobbies, mutual interests, spending time with family and friends, and again, traveling. And why traveling is so important, especially when you're in a relationship, and I'm traveling with my partner right now, is that when you travel together, you actually see this person in an environment. Actually, one of the critical things you get to see when a person's in this environment is usually travel comes with a relative amount of stress, okay? Now, thankfully, I'm with a partner who's a seasoned traveler, and actually I tend to kind of collapse a little bit within stress. And because she's a seasoned traveler, she can hold my hand in the process. Now, I happen to have, that's one of my frailties or flaws in my life. But ultimately, I don't go berserk when I'm in stress. I don't go losing my shirt. I don't start screaming and yelling at people. But when you witness this within a person, you might be asking yourself, would this person act this way with me? So traveling together can create that stressful situation where you can see how does this person resolve conflict? Okay, now I'm going off on a big tangent here, but I do want to address this because ultimately, how do two people bond together? We think about it all from the sense of all the good things, like doing these activities together. But how you can truly bond with each other at a deeper level is when you have the capacity to actually resolve conflicts with one another with relative ease. Relative ease. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be absolutely easy. I'm just saying relative ease. Because if you tend to find yourself in a situation where you're with somebody where it's actual friction when it comes to resolving conflict, and what I mean by conflict, I'm talking about some of the little things that disrupt a relationship. And most couples operate from a conflict resolution perspective of, I'm right and you're wrong. Okay, when two people can operate from the place of, I want us to both win when we're having some issues. Now, you might have a little bit of friction in the beginning, but when you can operate from a place of we both win, guess what happens? You're actually bonding with each other at a much stronger level. So let's bring this all back together. A great way to bond with a guy starts off with social activities, hobbies, mutual interest, and certainly one of the ones I'm supporting today happens to be cruising. And this, I'm sitting out my balcony right now on the cruise ship. And another way that you can actively really connect with a guy on a genuinely more heart-centered level is when both of you have created that sense of trust, that sense of we're on the same page with the other, where we really want to win in this. And when you're actively, actually, consciously focused on conflict resolution, and again, that sounds combative. In fact, if you're not really good at it, I'd highly recommend checking out the book Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg. That's right, Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg. Why am I recommending this book? The title should have been called Compassionate Communication. But non-violent communication is because we oftentimes are combative in our communication with the people we love. And so when we can pull back coming from a heart-centered place, we actually, when we've learned the tools to do this, we actually connect with one another at a much deeper level. And when we connect with each other at a deeper level, we create a stronger bond with one another. And ultimately, that stronger bond leads to saying, I want to be with this person for the rest of my life. And that's my invitation for all of you. All right, I think you get the gist of where I'm going. Folks, if you have something to share, please post a comment below. I'd like to hear about it. As always, if you find value in this, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel right now. And I'm going to wrap up this video as I always do. First off, giving myself a big, gigantic Jonathan Barrick of self-love. I'm going to reach into the camera and give you a hug of love if that's okay. I'm going to ask you to turn to someone, a teddy bear, a pillow, and give it or them a hug of love, or a pet, I forgot to mention, because hugs are a great source of love. And let's face it, we could all use more love right now. And guess what? This beautiful view of the Pacific Ocean as well. Take care, everyone. Bye now.